OBS Studio is now going. Click. Click. How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Chaos Head Noah. This is what I will believe to be the final episode, 64 videos, which I was able to record for a while for the previous episode in order to get to 64, the same amount of episodes as my Chaos Child playthrough. I just want to be so perfect. Is that so much to ask for? But yeah, we finally made it here to the end, the final route. I was told that it is not that long of a route, which is why I was able to kind of plan ahead on how I'm gonna divide up all these episodes. So hopefully they weren't gaslighting me and we're good to go here. But yeah, what a long journey it has been. I will definitely reminisce and talk about the story and everything after we get through this route. But in the last episode, we did finish up Rimi's route, and I really squeezed in practically the entire story there for her route, all into one episode, and it was good. I really liked hers. I don't know if I can rank it as the highest. I'm still kind of thinking it over, but it gave us some really good background on Rimi, how she came to be who she is, and it also most definitely confirmed that, yeah, everybody just has to go through some absolute pain and torture to pretty much become, or to awaken as a gigalomaniac. It is nutty. I mean, we've seen it from ISA for sure. Seeing it with Rimi, I think those two had it probably the worst in their background, or in their backstory. Nanami definitely got thrown into it. Everybody pretty much had some rough times. It's hard to really compare who had it worse than others, but again, we'll talk about all that later. I think we should most definitely jump into the blue sky route. All right. Ooh, I'm ready. I'm ready to finally wrap all this up.
Nishijo Nanami が祈る。兄と共に収容された病院。怪我人があふれた待合室の片隅にうずくまり、実の兄のしわくちゃの手を握りしめて、右手の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。もう一人の兄の無事を。
Looks like we're kind of going back through the end of the common route here, how the actual story ended.
倒壊したビルの瓦礫。そこに埋もれるように横たわるコンテナの中で、彼の美少女フィギュアの一つを握りしめて、地震と火事で醜く変形してしまったフィギュアたちの姿に感じた胸の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女を許してくれた少年の無事を。岸本綾瀬が祈る。避難所となっている水明学園。その校舎の屋上で空を見上げて、神話が書かれた文庫本を握りしめて、崩壊した渋谷を覆う不特定多数の妄想が見せる悪意の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女の歌を、彼女の話を聞いてくれた少年の無事を。折原梢が祈る。新鮮駅の薄暗いホーム。青い瀬名の震える手を握りしめて、足の傷の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。心の声で語り合ったクラスメートの少年の無事を。青い瀬名が祈る。横たわる父の傍らに座り、父の冷たくなった手を握りしめて、最後まで素直になれなかった後悔の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。彼女のお願いに不器用ながら応えようとしてくれた少年の無事を。咲畑りみが祈る。冷たい床に横たわりながら 彼へ伸ばした自らの手をきつく握りしめて、傷だらけの彼の姿を見て感じた。締め付けられるような胸の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。自分が守ろうとした。自分を助けに来てくれた少年の無事を。
Okay, so I found it kind of interesting here. I realized it like minutes ago, but they introduced all the characters in the same order that the Committee of Zero wrote their guide in for their recommended routes. Honestly, I think Rimi was the one to save for last. I don't know if you could say save the best for last, but yeah, that one's probably one of the harder hitting ones and best to save for right before this one. I don't know what the connections will be, if there will be any, but no, hers is very important in a lot of ways, and I think hers is best to save for last. All the others, I don't know, doing whatever order you want, I guess. But kind of cool that they match their order that they recommend to the order that popped up there.
僕は何もできなかった。君が行動したんだ。その結果としてみんなが君のことを見てきた。君という周囲共通認識はとっくに出来上がっているんだ。これからは、いや、もうすでに君こそが。
僕は、君は誰？
Oh.
君は僕。
Oh no, okay, so I forgot. In the guide, there were like a bunch of choices that you have to make. I mean, I'm down to like try some of these, but like I don't want to like get any of them wrong because there's like 30 of them or whatever. Let me see here. Okay, there's not 30, but there's quite a lot. So, you are me. I mean, that is true.
僕は君。
That is also true. Is that true? Yes.
僕なんていない。
There's no me? No. Yeah, that's a no.
君なんていない。
That's also a no.
僕は僕じゃない。
No, that's also a no. That is correct. I'm like verifying each one because I really don't want to have to start this over.
あなたは鬼。
That is true. I don't know about that one though. Yeah. That is a yes.
あなたは西条くん。
Yes. Interesting that we're getting some scenes here from
君は
the routes. That is true, yes. Actually, I just looked ahead on the guide. The rest of these are yes.
あなたは匠さん。
Okay, maybe this wasn't too difficult of some choices, but again, I just didn't want to have to do this all over again.
西条。
Yes.
あなたはタク。
Yes. Damn, Takumi, you get around.
僕は僕。
Yes.
僕は妄想の存在。
Yes, but is that really a bad thing here?
僕は存在する。
Yes. Like you exist, delusionary or not.
僕は西条匠。
Yes. Okay, we good?
僕はその声が聞こえた瞬間に
I hope we're good.
意識が僕を固定した。
Oh no, music.
ぐちゃぐちゃにかき
That's
回
always a
され
bad
ていた
sign.
世界が一気に収束する。
Oh, we've heard this song before, so I guess as long as I talk here and there, we'll be okay, right?
僕は僕としての形に戻る。世界は世界としての形に戻る。 僕は僕だ。
So I remember some of what was happening here. So we were getting attacked by some delusional like bullshit from Norase, and at one point like Takumi was like slurring his words. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about anymore. I think at one point he was just babbling like a baby. So yeah, this was, I guess, all to bring him back and to realize that, yeah, he exists. He is Takumi. I can see clearly now. All my wounds healed. My top and bottom halves are connected. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. The pain is entirely gone. Serenity fills my heart.
妄想によく打ち勝ったね。僕の最後の力を君に託すよ。
I notice Rimi at the edge of my vision. She's okay. She's looking at me. Tears are falling down her face. Don't cry. Oh, what's going on here? Oh shit. Did we already destroy it? Oh no, wait. That's her D-sword, no? Oh, okay, I see what's happening. We're just bringing all the D-swords to us, or we've summoned them, or whatever. Tight, tight. Can we choose our weapon? Or do we have to use them all? Directly behind me, space begins to warp. Prayers are brought into creation, the 6 gospels, or perhaps the impulses of 6 spirits, excuse me. All too pure, all too graceful, all too dignified, all too sharp, all too ferocious, all too destructive, and all too awash with an ill-omened beauty. I accept every piece of them. The 6 blades writhe above. Wistfully, or perhaps rapturously, they raise their shrieks. Well, this isn't necessarily how I remember the common route ending, but I'll roll with it. Oh, this is like in ISAs. We're just kind of like taking all of them into ours. Or at least I think that's what's happening here. Like, I really want to speak and, like, make it so we don't have a, you know, a nice old copyright claim coming my way, but I also just want to, like, sit back and enjoy what we're seeing here. And fuse with my D-sword. There we go. Summoning my strength, I grasp the D-sword's hilt. I ascertain its feeling. My arms work better than ever. I've completely regenerated. I focus my eyes on Norase.
確かに僕は化け物だよ。でもこれが
So I can rescue Rimi, so I can destroy Noah too.
僕が望んだ妄想だ。
Okay, now what? Norase's response is swift. He has yet to harvest the code sample of Nishijo Takumi. The delusion was supposed to corner the boy and shatter his psyche, but now the tables have turned. And that he cannot allow. Norase closes the gap between himself and Takumi. Taking a specific angle, he swings his D-sword from below. With a D-sword that can cleave any known object, he diagonally carves through Takumi's chest. The target's durability makes no difference. Killing a person with it is as simple as slicing through a block of gelatin. With one quick swipe from Norase, Takumi's body is split into pieces. His head, right arm, and right shoulder all slide cleanly off his body. Or does it? Internal organs litter the floor. But not a single drop of blood falls with them. The lower half of Takumi's body begins to give way. He braces himself and manages to plant his feet. In the following moment, the cross-section of his wound begins to undulate and squirm. A bubbling noise ensues. In this following moment, the cross-section of his wound begins to undulate and squirm. And then he regenerates, unharmed, unaffected. Even though his body was cleaved apart a mere second ago, already a new head, right arm, and shoulder were born. His old head and internal organs, remain where they slid free from him.
痛覚は遮断した。
With a single step, Takumi approaches Norase. Norase clicks his tongue and then turns over his D-sword.
肉体の形を捨てたがゆえにいかなる形をも取れるということですか。
あんたの見せてくれた妄想のおかげだよ。
He is unable to retain his shape as a human being. He took in the delusion and made it his own. This is not regeneration but replacement. Missing parts replenish, flesh and bone are produced once again, all propagating infinitely from the dust within his body. His shape is not fixed. Like an amoeba, like a collection of slime, he can change himself freely. That is the reason Takumi calls himself a monster. Takumi takes yet another step toward Norase. Norase's frustration increases. Gripping the hilt, he thrusts his D-sword at the approaching Takumi. Takumi's head finds itself between a colossal pair of scissors.
脳を失えば妄想はできないでしょう。
Well, we could just pull a bleach and get away with it anyways. Takumi's head is crushed, it splits like a watermelon, blood and gray matter burst forth. Everything above the neck is gone, and yet Takumi's body remains. Regeneration replacement is instantaneous. As soon as his heel hit the ground, as if nothing happened, as if he was entirely replaced. His head returned right to where it was, without a single scratch. Norase awakens to an understanding he cannot win this fight. Physical attacks with his D-sword are useless. The delusional attack denying the boy's reason for existence was taken in and used for an alternate purpose. The current Nishijo Takumi is all too removed from human normalcy, all too distorted of an existence, all too fitting as a monster. And yet, despite it all, Norase has no intention of conceding. His next thought is to utilize Nobutu's power to bombard Takumi with innumerable antiparticles. Bombardment with antiparticles can transform any known existence into negative matter, ending ultimately in self-collapse. If disruption from the surface is not viable, then collapse must be undertaken from within.
そうなんだね。
Norase's thoughts were read by Takumi. The shine of Takumi's D-sword transforms from red to black. A black flame envelops the blade, it wriggles forth, extending outward. Its shape resembles that of a dark colossal serpent.
そして現れるの。
Damn, look at this Chad. It roams throughout the dome as if constrained by it, toward the ceiling, toward the floor, as though it is licking them up, as though it is scraping them away. Didn't this happen in the original ending as well? This seems a little familiar. It simply consumes.
邪神の黒き大蛇。あらゆる崩壊を飲み込み、邪神の耳を砕くことのできる。糖質にして異質なるもの。
The body of the colossal serpent is composed of antiparticles. With a mere touch, it can send any known object into self-collapse. A torrent of destruction composed of near infinite greed.
触手芸はあんまり好みじゃないけど。
God damn it. There and then, Takumi's D-sword swings, its pointed tip fixed on Norase. I don't know, we're getting a lot of videos playing here. I want to say that this is a little new, maybe? The dark serpent, winding itself in a coil, curves its body like a whip. Its jaws snaps at Norase, excuse me.
まさかこれほどとは。
Not once has Norase ever seen such a phenomenon from a D-sword. He cannot discern whether it was the hidden power of all Gigolomaniacs or merely Takumi's delusion. The dark fangs erode Norisei's body, and he begins to collapse, all too slowly, like a frog slowly dissolving in the belly of a snake. Darkness swallows him. He feels no pain. By nature, his death should be instant. But that is not what Takumi wishes for. Realizing this, Norisei's lips twist into a derisive smile. Norisei had no fear of death. One could say that the ideals he pursued were accomplished with the completion of Noah 2.
私を殺してもノア2には誰も近づけない。永久期間なんですよ、それは。人類を未来永劫にわたって管理し続ける。ただ座して眺めているだけではない。人の幸福のために干渉してくる人工の神なのです。
Norisei is God's inventor, so to speak. As long as Noah 2 continues to exist, mankind will not perish, and the eternal utopia Norisei seeks will become real. However,
あんたなら近づけるんでしょ。
I love this. I love this in the original ending. He just used him. The serpent's body wriggles and writhes with Norisei in its grasp, lifting his body into the air.
それならあんたは鍵だ。
Norisei is astonished, but soon enough his face changes into an expression of pure agony. The serpent swings about his body with ease. Takumi shoots a glance at Rimi. Their eyes meet. Just what is Rimi feeling as she watches him? Reading her mind would be effortless, and yet Takumi does nothing of the sort. It seems I was able to save you after all. He quickly averts his eyes. His gaze then shifts to the still humming in Noah 2, the throne of God where none may stand foot, a cradle which shows naught but dreams of bliss.
ごめん。
He apologizes to no one in particular.
僕は人類にとっての敵かもね。
The eternal utopia this device would bring, a future without conflict. Takumi will extinguish them with his own two hands. Is that right, or is it wrong? Takumi cannot give the answer to that.
でも神話でもよくあるでしょ。神だって女絡みでうだうだやってる。だから僕も
Will sacrifice the happiness of mankind out of love for a girl. Takumi, D-sword in hand, bends his arms in a gigantic arc.
突き破れ
See, we always knew that this was like an eroge, right? He thrusts it forth just like a javelin. The colossal serpent of darkness charges straight ahead. With the bait known as Norisei impaled by its tip, it flies straight towards Noah 2. An enormous serpent of antiparticles capable of terminating any known object. It had no will of its own, thus it is not something that could be warped nor distorted. With the greedy impulse to destroy, using Norisei as the key, the delusional barrier is easily smashed to pieces. Yeah, see, that was smart. I probably wouldn't have thought of that. And for that, that's just why I think it was a clever, like, final attack. Like, sure, it was flashy. We probably could have had something flashier, like the Getsuga Tensho and Senna's route, but no, this was good. It was clever. It was smart. And all too powerful. You know, we've seen this scene before for sure. When did the rain begin to fall? There was just a huge explosion. And its blast blew my body away like it was nothing more than a ragdoll. Next thing I knew, I found myself lying here. Those eyes are always watching me. The stare pierces through the thick, pitch-black rain clouds and pours down on me like rain. Don't look at me. My body won't stop shivering, not from the chill of the rain, but rather the ice-cold rubble pressing against my back. So terribly cold. A gaze pierces me from the heavens. Who it belongs to, I cannot say. As if to escape it, I raise my head to look at the environment around me. There I see a ruined city. There I see despair. There I see death. There I see nothingness. Not a soul is there. Not a soul is moving. Not a soul is left alive. The only thing I can hear is the sound of the rain continuing to pour. At this rate, everything, both the living and the dead, Will it all be gently embraced and washed away? How nice it would be if all of this was just a delusion, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I can't move my body. I can only move my eyes and neck, and even then, just barely. I can't use that monstrous power from before. My body is shivering, but that's nothing more than a physiological phenomenon. It isn't happening by my own will. I don't want my body to tremble. If I can't move it freely, then it isn't my body. Or maybe I've never had free will ever since I was born. Nobody knows exactly where the soul resides. Bearing that in mind, how can anyone say that there is a soul inside this body of mine? But then where exactly am I now? Am I really here? Am I anywhere at all? In this shattered world, where all stands still, where all that can be heard is the rain of death, suddenly another sound echoes through it. A single solitary existence begins to emerge from the sea of nothingness. Who are you? Is your skin so pale because it's been numbed by the chill of the rain? Or is it because you're already dead, and yet the girl isn't shivering, and those eyes of hers nearly hidden by her bangs? Don't look at me. They look so terribly sad. They look as if they hold a hint of madness. They look as if they reflect nothing. If she and I were the only ones left in the world, if we stared into each other's eyes like this for all eternity, would my world be reduced to the reflection in her eyes? Would her world be reduced to the reflection in my eyes? The only thing reflected in her eyes is me. The only thing reflected in my eyes is her. When I think of it that way, the world immediately seems so much smaller. Suddenly a flash of static reaches my ears, one endlessly beautiful yet deeply discordant. She lowers her head and spreads her arms wide, almost as if preparing to take off to soar high above the rain clouds, or as if trying to catch all the falling rain.
あなたを見つめる妄想
From where I am on the ground, I can't see the expression on that lowered head of hers. Behind this thin veil of rain, just what kind of face are you making? Oh, there it is. So I guess even in this rendition, she's gonna kill us.
殺してあげる
An angel? Are those dancing feathers of light blessing me, or... Damn, Rimi is so cool. Ah, I see, I finally understand. She's going to use that to kill me. The girl slowly kneels to the ground right before my collapsed body. With her head still lowered, she gently takes my own in her hands. I surrendered my body to her grasp. I'm just relieved that she isn't looking at me.
殺さなくちゃいけないの
In my ear, I hear a whisper, garbled by static. It's as beautiful as it is discordant.
ごめんごめんね
Is it gonna go to the next line? Nope, I guess I have to click it. There's nothing to apologize for. If I don't disappear, the other me, the real me, will die. He's gonna die either way. So that's why I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm really glad I get to be erased by you. It's not a bad end for a monster like me. I don't have any regrets. So is this really gonna end the same exact way as the common route? A warm, soft, gentle, sweet sensation. And miraculously, as if it were authentic, the shivering in my body slowly begins to die down. Her soft breath tickles my cheeks. It smells so sweet. Suddenly, I sense something pressing against my chest. The large sword she holds tears through my skin, bores into my flesh, weaves through my bones, and slowly sinks through to the center of my body. But gifted with the anesthesia of her kiss, I no longer feel any pain. I would never have imagined that I'd get such a kind death. Just the thought of it breaks my heart, leaving me on the verge of tears. Trying to hide them, I look past the girl's head up toward the ashen sky where the rain continues to pour. Okay, but what now? Like, is there going to be anything else? Otherwise, this is the exact same ending, practically.
殺せない。
Oh? Her lips pull away from me. Her sad whispers trickle into my ears.
やっぱりタクを殺せないよ。
Aren't you, like, in the process of doing exactly that, though? I feel no pain. Her sword isn't real booted. My body isn't injured in the slightest.
で
Oh.
も消してくれなきゃ本物の僕が
Will die. He will die. That's why I should die instead. That way he can stay alive for just a little bit longer. I'm sure that's what you want too.
消して消すんだ僕を。
できない。
Rimi lightly shakes her head. Those eyes of hers waver as they stare at me.
好きなの。あなたの弱さが好き。
Damn, what a thing to say to the guy that literally just saved the entire world from being under a big-ass delusion.
弱いくせに
Incredible.
臆病なくせにボロボロになって私なんかを助けに来てくれたその強さが好きなの。
Okay, that's a better thing to say.
あなたと同じ時間をもっと過ごしたいの。あなたを失いたくない。あなたに生きていてほしい。
You'll look at me?
僕は化け物なんだ。
私だって同じだよ。
That is true. Is it okay for me to keep on living?
君がそれを選んだなら生きていていいんだ。
I hear a voice from the sky. And with that I understand because our minds are directly connected. I perceive a certain feeling. That right now, at this very moment, his life just vanished.
匠が死んだんだね。
In that moment, Rimi quickly sensed the emotions my face conveyed. Hesitating for a moment, I give her a faint nod. Yeah, no point in killing us now. Unless you just really want to. Okay, her tears and everything are like completely justified now that we can kind of like connect everything that happened in her past with being saved by the original Takumi. I get it, 100%. Don't cry. I don't want you to cry. Feeling returns to my entire body. Warmth returns to my body as well. Even though my movements are still clumsy. Even though I'm still trembling. With the hand I can move, I take out a vermilion handkerchief. Rimi's face is covered in tears. The droplets that are so beautiful, so clear. I softly wipe them away with all the memories you've given me.
僕も君が好きです。
Rimi tightly clasps my hand, as if she wishes to cling to it forever. As if to confirm that we exist right here. The warmth within us is contagious. Both my and your temperatures melt together. The two of us look up at the sky. Without a doubt, it's covered by clouds. But
光は電磁場の波。その振動現象を人の視覚は色として捉える。
タク、その言葉。
words that only he and Rimi should know. Words that he used to give Rimi hope. And yet I know them because I've seen his memories. He and I are one in body and soul. My memories and his are shared between us. His memories of the 17 years of life he lived were all passed down to me. And he vicariously experienced my own year and a half of life.
自分のデッドスポットに望む色を当てはめれば、僕たちのあの空の色は取り戻せる。
We know that color because in that image world of only sea and sky, it's the color we gazed up at and burned into our memories. Oh yeah, show us that blue sky. Get rid of those clouds, come on. Do it. You won't. There goes the rain. We're getting there. Giving it some light. Suddenly the rain stops. In an instant, the clouds vanish. Yep, there it is. It's clearing up. Yeah, shit's bright, actually. Coming back. Something that no matter where you look always seems to draw you in, gently blankets the world. The blue sky above. Yep, that's it. That's it, guys. We're done. That's it. All right, we got like a little bit more of a fight and a nicer ending compared to the common route. We get to live. We get to live going forward. We get to try and form our own life, which, all things considered, from everything that's happened across this entire game, is probably the only real good ending. Like, this is a great way to just wrap it all up because it's a part of the story that, oh shit. That's beautiful. Like, any route we go into, the third melt's gonna happen. Shibuya's gonna get fucked. And only in some routes do they actually get rid of the problem at hand. So either way, Shibuya's gonna get screwed over. Nanami's losing her goddamn hand for a while. There's a lot of things that are inescapable, but things could be turned around. Things can go better going forward. They can definitely turn around. And hey, like I said last time, at least everybody's alive in this rendition, right? Everyone's still here. All of the characters that we had routes with. And that's another thing. Can we talk about that again? I brought this up whenever we were going into the character routes. What are the character routes in this? Like, are they just other world lines that you could go down and they kind of just, those experiences all kind of converge or diverge or whatever towards Takumi there at the end in order to regain who he is and to have like the maximum output of power or whatever? Like, I can buy that. Now, the reason why I'm asking about that is because in Chaos Child, the character routes there, they had some really serious meaning. Really, like, well, I don't want to get into spoilers, but I'm you know, I'm not going to say anything more. Not about that. But yeah, they did have meaning. There was there was a reasoning behind those character routes. Like, they occurred, but they occurred in a very specific way, and they benefited the ending. Plus, it gave us more information. So, sure, we got more information. We saw some experiences here, but where do they take place? That's what I want to know. And how do those experiences come together at the very end? That's all I want to know. But other than that, I think all of these character routes, going back through the game a few times, obviously skipping through everything, it really painted a clearer picture because for like the majority of this, I was just confused. Obviously, things make a little bit more sense, but when you bring in the concept of delusions and what you see and perceive from whatever perspectives may not be accurate, it kind of makes it hard to really follow along. So there were times where I was desperate for just like any and all forms of information. Like, please just give me something to work with. It did feel pretty damn discouraging at times. But yeah, I guess I got what I wanted as we went through again. I think whenever we were at the end of chapter 9, whenever Takumi was talking with the original, I think that cleared up some things. Made some things a little bit clear in all of those confusing regards. But it's tough whenever you're trying to do a story like this, I think. Whenever you're trying to introduce a concept such as delusions and being unable to believe in, well, anything. It's tough in all regards, I would say. But yeah. Finally done with the credits, so I can stop rambling, I think. Is there an epilogue, I wonder? If there isn't, it's whatever. Oh my god. Can we get rid of that, please? Can we just crush it? Can we just step on it? And then just... Please. This was one of the worst parts of the game, was dealing with Takumi's dumbass delusions with Sarah. Because especially when he had that big-ass fight with all the Sarahs, I was just like, oh my gosh, please just let it end. It's awful. Where's Rimi at? She's the one I care about. I would say, shoot, I don't even know if I can rank like a best waifu for Laifu here. I really don't know which of the female main characters I can choose as a great main heroine for the story, for the main character, for just in general. We got the blue sky end, and we got the ending of the game. Those are the achievements I just got. The prelude, Delusion of Zero, has been unlocked. There's a prelude? Huh? Congratulations, thank you. Didn't know there was a prelude. What does that entail? I wasn't really informed of a prelude. How do I access that? Oh, hey. Nice. Yeah, we have a... Oh. What is a prelude? Is that just gonna, like, bring me back through the... Well, I don't know what it will do. That's not what I wanted to click. Extra. Damn, we're missing, like, probably one CG, and I know exactly what it is, too. It's, so that nurse, you can choose the different, like, options in the beginning, and that, like, one of them is for whether she wears glasses or not, and I think there's, like, one delusion at the end where she had, like, an Ahigawa face, and she is wearing her glasses in one of the CGs and not in the other. And there could be another CG that I'm missing from a delusion, because I don't have all the delusions yet. I don't. I'm going to go back through and I'm going to try and get all of them. I want to get all of the... I want to get everything here. We actually are missing one tip. We did not find the mysterious tip on the letter P. Or maybe we did. Was it the letter P? I don't remember what letter it was, unless I scroll past it. Maybe we're good? I could have sworn that there was like one more that we needed. Either way, I was told that there's no achievement for getting all the tips. Not that I'm trying to like get all the achievements or anything, but I am also, well, yeah, I am trying to get all the achievements. What is the prelude? Let's just check this out. Whatever this is. Delusion of Zero, a Chaos Head prelude. Okay. How long is this? Again, I wasn't informed of this. Before I pass on, allow me to recount my memories leading to this moment. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world. Those are the words of Albert Einstein. When his delusion E equals mc squared embraced the world, how had the man felt? Yeah, what you surmise is true. The famous gifted physicist was in fact a gigalomaniac. And a fairly exceptional one at that. My powers undoubtedly pale in comparison to his. Yet despite my saying so, I unknowingly brought a similar delusion into existence. To deny that reality would be a fool's errand, for my delusion has already spread far across the world. Fun to the 10th power times int to the 40th equals IR2. I believe I was in the 4th grade when I materialized that formula. It was also around that time when my body first began to suffer various abnormalities. Ever since its very birth, that delusion has slowly eroded my body. In a mere 6 months, I was no longer able to walk unassisted. At the time, I was not aware of my status as a gigalomaniac. I somehow managed to continue attending classes, but I proved unable to participate in an upcoming field trip due to my worsening condition. And so, despite my intense anticipation for the event, my parents forbade me from attending, which birthed in me a fierce resentment toward them for a time. From that moment onward, my delusions continued to engorge. Delusions synonymous, there we go, with nothing but pure envy. These very delusions would go on to injure my classmates who had gone on the field trip without me and killing the chaperoning teacher. Only then did I come to realize that I harbored a terrifying power. I was admitted to the hospital soon after. More time would pass, and eventually all the doctors present gave up on diagnosing my condition. All the doctors save for one. Yeah, Norosei Genichi. Although I was fairly young when I first encountered him, it only took a glance to understand this man's true sinister nature. The two of us were alike after all, two souls far removed from common sense. Naturally, because of this fact, his proposed treatment for my condition was denied, and he was dismissed from my case. I was fortunate that his successor turned out to be Dr. Takashina. Before Norosei departed, however, I took the time to peer into his mind, and learned of both Project Noah and Nozomi technology. The very hospital I had been admitted to also served as the lair of my enemy. If nothing was done, my delusion would be utilized by Project Noah, and grave consequences would befall the world. When I realized this, I immediately attempted to escape, but that was when I grasped a terrifying truth. Only as a result of my treatment had I come to reach a form of stability. In other words, my body had already deteriorated to a point where I could no longer survive outside of the hospital. I was intensely aware of the fact that my enemies were always near. I kept them at bay with delusions, but my body grew weaker with each person I stayed, a vicious cycle that only served to further extend my stay at the hospital. If this were to continue, my capture by Norosei would be inevitable. With no other options left to me, I was forced to erase every trace of my existence. I had ceased attending classes at some time prior to that point, so upon my classmates' graduation from elementary school, I executed my plan. Our treatment of Nishijo Takumi has proven successful, and he has thus been discharged from the hospital. That is the fiction I created, one I implanted into the minds of my parents, as well as the entirety of the hospital's staff. Any person who had any possibility of coming into contact with Norosei was put under this impression. Then, using my delusions, I isolated myself in a hospital room separated from the rest of the building. But I was not able to alter everyone's memories. My younger sister Nanami proved to be an exception. Only she was able to enter the room with no semblance of difficulty. She did not even seem to recognize the room as separate from the hospital. Of course, whenever she took it upon herself to visit the hospital, I crafted a delusion allowing her to remain unseen by anyone present. Nanami, while quite childish, showed nothing but concern for me during my time in the hospital. Even on my darkest days, she put forth her best effort to care for me. Those moments showed me how strong she truly was, and I found myself unable to steal her memories away from her. Nanami, however, was not the only exception. This was the time I came to know a girl named Sakihata Rimi. Rimi had been confined in the hospital's basement for nearly a year. Every day she would face brutal, ceaseless torture at the hands of Norosei, but no matter how hard I tried to call out to her, my voice would never reach her. It was only upon her eventual awakening as a gigalomaniac that I finally managed to synchronize with her delusion. In that moment, I entered the world inside her mind, her image world. Whether that was truly for the best, I have yet to determine. The delusions that she carries within her are endlessly sorrowful, and yet they are also reality, or her reality. Unable to face it, she had killed her own heart and mind numerous times before I met her, destroying all remnants of her past selves. The formula born from my delusions had brought this girl endless suffering. For all these reasons, I saved her. My delusionary powers allow me to travel anywhere. In reality, my body is still incapable of walking, but I am able to create a door that leads to any destination. Producing these delusions requires a great deal of strength, however, forcing me to only use it sparingly. And yet, despite this fierce tax on my body, I would not hesitate to give my life if it meant stopping Project Noah, a project I have effectively founded when I allowed my delusion to spread across the world. And so upon isolating myself, I began to pour every ounce of strength into halting the advancement of Project Noah. However, the skill my enemies possessed matched my own, rendering my efforts useless. They had established a defensive strategy, and with it, the search for me had begun. If I were to make even one mistake, I would be discovered in an instant and captured. This manhunt would only serve to increase the danger Nanami was in, as the two of us were family. I had no desire to involve anyone in this fight, so I hid myself away from the world. In the end, I was naive, and 3 years went by entirely wasted. During that time, I conjured numerous delusions, but each one served to weaken me further. If this were to continue, there would be no way of stopping Project Noah. For this reason, I decided to give birth to you. To achieve this end, I had to sever every link I had left to society. My final remaining connection to the outside world, to my normal life, was Nanami. Because of this, I was forced to erase all memory she had of me. I know that my actions caused her a great deal of pain. In our last moments together, it was clear how deeply hurt she was. Even so, I knew that pain was sure to leave her momentarily. As long as she forgot about me, she would be able to return to her normal life. Wishing only for her happiness, I liberated her from the burden known as myself. It was with Rimi that I miscalculated. Naturally, I tried to erase her memories as well. I wanted her to forget about her awakening as a gigalomaniac, about her sickly torture at the hands of Norase, and that she had ever met me. I wanted to give her a normal life. However, Rimi is an exceptionally skilled gigalomaniac. No matter how many times I tried to override her memories, my delusions were deflected without fail. It was clear that she was very experienced in locking away her heart, all while wearing the brightest of smiles on her face. My attempts having borne no fruit, I abandoned all hope of altering her memories and thus redirected my efforts. Creating a human from nothing proved difficult, even with the power of delusions. I've come to know that the human soul is incredibly delicate, that it is as elaborate as it is precise. In order to create you, I focused completely on the personality that the delusions would form, For an entire month's time, you were all I thought about. In a way, it was quite similar to falling in love, though I myself have never known the feeling. If you were to come to know this, I am sure you would feel repulsed. Yeah, I can get that. Essentially, you are me, my memories, my abilities, and finally my name. I have entrusted them all to you. The moment you are born, I will no longer be the boy known as Nishijo Takumi. From that moment on, I shall take on the moniker Shogun. Why Shogun, you may ask? Well, I quite like to go Shogun. That is all there is to it. With that being said, once you are born, your role will no doubt be a painful one. A very painful one. First and foremost, you must awaken as a gigalomaniac. To meet this end, you will have to endure an extreme mental load, a grave, unforgiving strain on your psyche. Once you awaken and grasp your D-Sword, the battle against Nozomi technology will begin, the battle to stop Project Noah. That is my ultimate goal, and by extension yours. But I would be remiss if I did not say this. My reason for creating you was incredibly selfish, but I had no other choice. I cannot do this on my own. I hope you can find it in yourself to forgive me. When the curtain finally falls, you will be free. Once you are granted this freedom, please grant me this in turn. I ask that you turn a blind eye to my selfish desires, including forcing these memories onto you. And I ask that you be a good older brother to Nanami. Please. If I had the ability, I would have done this all myself. I would have done it while dreaming of the peace I would see once it all came to a close. It is a pleasure to meet you, Nishijo Takumi. Yet, this is also goodbye, Nishijo Takumi. Welcome to the world. Harsh battles await you, as do infinite possibilities. As long as the blue sky above exists, that fact can never be denied. You are me, and at the same time, you are also you. A hospital room none would visit dyed orange by the setting sun. Clutching her knees silently in one of the corners, Sakihata Rimi noticed something strange occurring in Nishijo Takumi's bed. His breathing had quickened, his chest reduced to mere skin and bone, rose and fell rapidly with each breath. With a low gasp, Rimi watched as innumerable thorn vines slowly radiated from the bed's center. A delicate construct that appeared both metallic yet organic, with a beauty that rivaled, yeah, I can speak. Even the most breathtaking of sights, vines of such description colored the room. They crept and crawled all over the walls and floor, overtaking every inch of the closed space the two resided in. Like the veins of a leaf, shards of translucent glass emerged from the surface of the vines, each pulsating with a flickering red light. Together it was reminiscent of an 8-headed serpent, each branch possessing its own will. Nishijo Takumi's D-sword. Rimi had seen it only once before, but at the same time, it had been confined to one of his weak, frail hands, wrapped around it as tight as could be. Nishijo Takumi remained motionless on the bed. In spite of Rimi's attempts to inhibit him, she realized he had been successful in creating another self. As she gazed upon him, memories resurfaced of the time that she had asked him if he intended to die as a result of his actions. To this, he had merely nodded. Soon the pulsing glow of the D-sword covering the walls began to dim, and before long the vines began to dry and crack. As they crumbled away around her, Rimi slowly rose to her feet. Taking care not to run into any thorns, she cautiously made her way over to the bed. Standing by his side, she lifted her hand and gently caressed Shogun's desiccated cheek. Yeah, I can speak. We're getting there. Still, he continued to breathe. Would he ever regain consciousness someday? At that moment in time, somewhere in Shibuya, another Nishijo Takumi had been born. Would she ever come to meet him someday? Until that day came, she would continue to wait here, for she had no family, for she had nowhere else to go, for she had no home to return to, no one waiting for her. Gazing out the window, Rimi looked at the many skyscrapers of Shibuya, each dyed a deep orange by the twilight, as a single trickle of tears slid down her cheek. All of this came a mere 18 months before the Shibuya collapse. God damn, how long is this shit? There we go. Oh my god. I was gonna say, god damn. This is a long prelude. Let me get a drink of water. Okay. Yeah, I didn't really expect there to be like a little prelude there. That was nice. Alright. Well, I have a lot of final thoughts. I don't think I'm gonna get to all of them because with these long games, how could I? But first and foremost, I want to thank you all for sticking around for any of these episodes, just straight up. I'm sure you guys are aware that I was a little unhappy here and there with the direction of the game, the direction of the patch, and whatever else, and you guys still stuck with me, and I do appreciate that, truly. So thank you all for watching any of these videos. Thank you to my patrons, the YouTube members here, for supporting me in that way. Thank you to my friend Mari, who made the little figure on the thumbnail art. That was actually pretty cool, supposed to mimic the Takumi and the promotional art. And no, I thought it was truly nice of her to do that commission for me for the thumbnails here. And yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't even know what else to say in terms of thanking. Just what a journey this has been. I think you all deserve a thanks from me for the patience that you guys have shown as well, because I was impatient to start the playthrough. And, I mean, who isn't, you know? Chaos Head Noah, who knew if it would actually come to the West? And by golly, it did. And I jumped right into it, not knowing that the game would actually be on Steam. Remember all that drama with the game being banned from Steam? So I had to get the Chaos Head, Chaos Child double pack for the Switch. And I was good to go with that. I didn't mind. But no, I mean, I guess there is hope and all that. And luckily we did get the game on Steam, which is just, it's easier to record this way. I mean, I've got a, like, definitely working capture card and everything, but I mean, come on. It's easier to just, like, double click on an icon on my computer and load up my recording stuff rather than get the old everything plugged in and load up the game and whatever else. It's easier, especially for a game like this. But we came a long way, and I do appreciate the patience that you guys showed me. I do appreciate that. But let's talk about the game here. Yeah, there's a lot to say. I have to say, truly, that I'm gonna probably rank this title below all the others that I've played of the mainline science adventure games. I think Chaos Child and Steins Gate are, like, peak. They are fantastic. They are deserving of the top spot. Steins Gate 0 is not too far behind, and I guess we'll slot Chaos Head right below that. I don't know if I could give it a number ranking, but it's definitely not a bad game. It's definitely not perfect either. I think the problem that I see, yeah, my dog understands. I think the problem that I see is that this game has a very unlikable main character, and we understand why. The main character was weak so that everything else can be strong, I think is a really good way to put it. He is indeed a weak main character in both a story sense and also quite literally. He's just a weak piece of shit. And eventually it does begin to get a little bit much with how pathetic he is and how he just doesn't really have a lot to give us. But again, because of that, it allows the story and all other aspects of it to kind of take the reign. And I think that benefited here. But again, you still have to put up with how Takumi is, and that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, I would have to say that that was the big downside here, was just him. And I'm not going to say that Okabe from Steins Gate is a fantastic main character, but at least he's enjoyable to follow. And shoot, whatever the main character is from Chaos Child, they all start with Taku or whatever, but he is, he's not weak. He's not a perfect main character either, but at least he's enjoyable to follow. He has his reasonings for the way he is, and you can actually see some really good growth in him as the story goes on. I'm not going to get into specifics because, again, I don't want to talk too much about Chaos Child, but you know, it's hard not to compare the two. And you know what? I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to say it, and you guys can be angry at me just as if I was you know, bitching about the patch and everything. I think it is completely acceptable for you to play Chaos Child before Chaos Head. I think that is completely fine. I definitely will go back through Chaos Child. There's a lot more that I need to see, but I think you will get a lot from both titles. I think you will experience everything a little bit differently depending on the direction you guys go in, or the order you guys choose to play these games. I would probably say, yeah, play Chaos Head first because, well, that's the first one, and it is now actually available. Then jump into Chaos Child, but it is fine, in my opinion, to play Child before Head, I think. But you guys are more than welcome to say, nope, that's wrong, you are wrong, your opinion sucks, you do not deserve to speak, or whatever. I don't know. But both games have their pros and cons. I just think that Chaos Child really tells that story and keeps you hooked a lot better than Chaos Head does. Sure, both are confusing, both make absolutely no sense whatsoever as you go through it, and then you get the information you need to start connecting the puzzle pieces. it is what it is. They both do the same shit, but one does it better than the other. But also, this was the one that started everything. This was the Kickstarter for the Science Adventure series. Everything kind of stems off from the concepts brought up here. I mean, some of the stuff relating to like data and thoughts and all that, the electromagnetic shit, that kind of goes towards Steins Gate. And obviously, a lot of stuff here with delusions and D-sorts and all that, that's obviously going to go towards Chaos Child. So everything kind of stems from here, but that doesn't mean that this was like the godsend perfect masterpiece that kicked everything off. No, I think Steins Gate really ignited the flame and Chaos Child really ran with it. I don't really know what to say about Robotics Notes. I have not played that one yet. That one is on the list. I just, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it. It is something I will jump into, but not immediately. After finishing this, I want to take a little bit of a break from the old Science Adventure series. And I know that Anonymous Code is going to be coming up as well. So, man, there is a lot of Science Adventure to be had. It is a fantastic series full of shit that you don't have to fully grasp, but there's a lot that you can get. And I think you'd have a good time with whatever aspect of it you obtain. Whether you just jump into Steins Gate and that's it for you, or if you go into Chaos Head / Child, you know, whatever you want to do, I think there's always something to obtain, and that's why I really like this series. I'm really glad that I also gave Chaos Head a better opportunity. I brought it up a few times, but I did watch the anime. A few years ago, whenever I was still commuting in my first year at university, I watched the anime, and it was an absolute terrible watch. I think I gave it a 1 rating on my Annie list, because it was just so terrible. It actually gave me headaches trying to like follow it. It was awful. I do not recommend it. And I was about to watch the Chaos Child anime, but I realized in the first episode that they were doing everything wrong, that I just gave up on that too. If you want to watch an anime from the Science Adventure series, Steins Gate, and I guess Steins Gate Zero, they both do it really, really, really well. Not perfectly, obviously, but they do it great. And if it wasn't for the Steins Gate anime, I wouldn't be sitting here talking as I am now, recording these games for you guys. So I guess we gotta chalk it up to the Steins Gate anime, huh? That really brought everything together. But no, this was nonetheless a good time. It's just that there were a lot of things that made this not so enjoyable. A lot of things that wasn't even the game's fault. It's just, you know, me. But also the game doesn't really deliver in like a perfect experience. It's just not perfect for me, but it might be for others, and that's okay. I think there's a lot of people that don't like Robotics Notes, but then some others that actually really do, so it just sort of depends. I don't know. I don't know. We're all, I guess, subject to our own opinions or whatever. And, shoot, I feel like there's a lot more I wanted to talk about, but again, with these long games, it's hard to bring everything up. I guess if there is one more thing I want to talk about, best to leave it for last, is the Committee of Zero patch. So this is where everybody will stop watching, but, no, I do want to say a huge congrats again for those that spent years of their lives, of their free time, to put together a patch with a translation that they came up with, a fan translation, basically remaking the game in a way in order for it to be playable for us here on the West. They didn't really know when the hell it was going to get out, and again, we were all surprised whenever the game actually was announced to be coming here to the West. It just does suck that when it did release, it actually was release broken. You couldn't even get to the ending there. All those videos that were playing at the end, I don't think actually played, and therefore nobody could actually finish the game. Excuse me. So luckily they fixed it, but it did ship broken. This game was quite literally broken when it shipped, and that is so unfortunate. With all the hype and expectations that the community gave for it, terrible that it shipped broken. And again, I'm gonna give credit where it's due. The restoration patch or improvement patch or whatever it is that the Committee of Zero is calling this definitely does fix some problems. The typefacing, the font is so much better. Let's see, what else do I like? It is less clunky, this game. Apparently the skipping function was broken, so they fixed that. There's some other issues that it didn't fix, like I still have to cap this game at 60 FPS. There's some other issues. The game is clunky. I'll throw it out there. It's clunky, but even if you play without the patch, it's not broken. Like, it isn't. Your experience, I don't think, is going to be diminished by not playing with the patch. So, I think that's fine. We'll get that out of the way. But still, this group of people, I don't really agree with some of the things they did. But they did put together a patch that truly does enhance the game a bit. And also brings back some cut content. Seeing Takumi having to live through the NewGen deaths was shocking, was terrifying, actually, in a way. I don't even think I have words to describe that whole deal. But it was still incredible to go through. I truly wasn't expecting it. I actually kind of forgot that there was like a whole section that was apparently left out, and it was all of that. It was like half an hour to an hour of content right there. Crazy stuff. But I will just say this, and this is where people will disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't think you need the patch to play this game. You can fully enjoy the story and everything it has to offer without the patch. You do not need it. Straight up. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it is totally fine. The typefacing and everything, I dealt with it with Steins Gate. Luckily didn't deal with it in Chaos Child, so as long as you can read, I think you're fine. If you don't mind some cut content, you should be fine there. I don't know if the skip function works, so good luck on that one, but I think the game is perfectly playable and you do not need the patch. But if that skip function is still broken, then I might be eating my words. And just to make it clear with this whole patch deal, the only thing I don't like is that they admitted to changing some things that, in my opinion, never needed changing. I get trying to keep things consistent, and that's fine, but changing things because you think they're offensive or whatever, and then not changing other things that are offensive, such as, you know, the glaring moments of there being sexual assault and rape moments that Takumi was definitely having delusions about. I don't know, it just does not add up, and that's just how I feel. That's how I feel. I think the majority of the community is going to disagree with me, and I don't care. It is what it is, and we'll leave it at that. I think I've ranted enough about the Committee of Zero. I've stated this before. Excuse me. I have no plans of using their patches going forward. I will not rely on them for any of their stuff anymore. Maybe their guides, just because they're there, but no, it should be your choice if you want to use their patches or not. I'm not going to, and that'll be that. We'll move on. And if I have to bitch about something, now I can just bitch about the game. It doesn't have to be this patch. So all is good. Anyways, yeah, I'm dying. I've been talking for way too long. We'll end it here so I can let my throat rest. My chest and everything is probably on fire. Thank you all for tuning in to this playthrough, and if there's any other topics you want to bring up about this game that I probably am looking over, comment section. I am there. I will join you there if you want to talk about anything or anything I may have missed. There most definitely are some things I'm missing for sure. So if you guys want to bring up anything and we could talk about them in the comments, by all means, I'm there. I try to read all the comments I get, so I will definitely be down there with you guys. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I've got nothing else to bring up, nothing else to bitch about. Chaos Head Noah was definitely a fun one. May not be the best that I've gone through here for the Science Adventure series, but nonetheless, a really good time. So thank you all for joining me. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to stick around and check out some of my other stuff. Like I said, Robotics Notes, while not something I plan on recording at this time, it is something I'd like to jump into. Anonymous Code as well in the future, and who knows what else. So if you're interested in checking out more of my stuff, definitely subscribe, check out what else I've already completed, what I'm working on, and yeah, I hope to see you guys in another playthrough, in another video. take it easy, keep those delusions in check, no D-swords stabbing me in the back, and remember, of whose eyes those eyes may be. But I'm gonna continue to wonder whose eyes are those eyes. Whatever. See you guys next time in some other video.